Peace, y'all. Peace. Man, I just got some amazing information. Hey, I was just on, shout out to Los. Alright, I was just on his live and he pulled out this book and it was talking about compasses. And anybody that's been in my live, right, we've been talking about astronomy my last couple lives, right? And I told y'all remember when I told y'all that the Olmecs created the compass? Y'all remember? Do y'all remember when I told y'all that the Olmecs invented the compass? Well, I got some more receipts, man. He had his book on his live. He was showing this book. So you know me, I went straight to the book. Let's get straight to these compasses. But I got like 61 receipts on how Americans were the first to travel the world. Yo, we got a nice amount of people in here. Y'all don't want to leave. If y'all love America, y'all want to stay. Because we about to break down how America is not the new world, it's the old world. Right? We obviously couldn't be a part of the United States, right? Because we all don't have a united state of mind that connects with the way our government thinks, right? When was the last time you agreed with what they were doing? So I live in Pottstown. There is a location called Manatawny names by the Lenape. Tawny. Y'all know tawny comes from the word tane, which means to tan or to blacken. So when you see the word tawny, then that means it's nearing blackness. So when anybody ever told you tawny meant anything else, they're lying to you. Like when these other nations go to tanning beds, right? But tawny comes from tane, which comes from a little black spot, right? And a little black spot is basically a mole, right? So tan or tane comes from the color of a mole, M-O-L-E, on your face, right? Yeah, just like swart. Tawny and swart are both to blacken, black or nearing to blackness. You got to remember, they tried to lie, right? Because the whole world was swarthy, right? The whole world was dark. So when they were breaking down all these different people, these different terminologies were just used to describe the different tones of us. You feel me? They were used to describe the different tones of our people, right? Tawny, swarthy, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? And I bet y'all probably have some ruddy friends. Y'all ain't never had that friend when y'all were in high school, the one with like the red hair and shit, or like the like the hair kind of like the color of that bridge with the freckles. Y'all, the light-skinned dude. None of y'all had that friend, or y'all knew the dude in school. He was light-skinned. He had freckles that were the color of that bridge. We all know that dude. He was ruddy. That was your ruddy friend. You know what I'm saying? That's the ruddy friend. Let them tell it though, right? We know that Benjamin Franklin in 1700s was saying, like, talking about people in the world, and when he spoke about people in the world, he said that the whole world is swarthy and tawny. America wholly so. But when he said, why increase the sons of Africa, right? Remember he said that, why increase the sons of Africa when we could turn this place into what we want it to be, into a lighter place, into, you know what I'm saying? Exactly, into their own utopia. But the thing is, it's impossible, because in South Carolina they have this news article. I could pull it up later. But in South Carolina they had this news article that said the Moors and the Indians, their blood doesn't go away, but that of the African escapes after 2 to 3 generations, right? So if that's the case, then they knew that they couldn't just sex us out of history, right? They couldn't mate with us and make us disappear, because they were going to disappear before we would, because our genetics are too strong. Peace. What I missed? You didn't miss anything. I just been talking shit, getting people in here. We just kicking it. But we talking about astronomy, man. We talking about America. We talking about us being amazing astronomers, mathematicians. Because whether we like it or not, I'm gonna be honest. Me and David, y'all know who David is. Me and David, we really dropped some heavy hitters on these Pan-Africans. You know what I'm saying? About these stars. I'm calling all y'all out. Hey, Seven, I don't think you could call me out. I don't really talk about things that could be debunked or debated, really. That's not really my thing. I try to go straight to, like, the facts, right? And then if anybody wants to argue with me, it's like, yo, argue with the Most High. Argue with God, yo. I didn't put the stars in the sky. You feel me? Let's get into it, though. Oh, look at this. The mirror compass. So, the heavy hitter, man, it's the stars, right? The stars are for signs. And who would have guessed? Who would have guessed that we would have been arguing with all these other nations for years and years and years, and all we ever had to do was just look up at the stars, and that would have ended everything. It would have ended every argument. Who would have thunk it? Right? All we had to do was look up. Could y'all have ever imagined that all you had to do was look up at the sky and that would have solved all your problems? Because the sky tells a story, right? The sky tells a story. Yeah, somebody's been lying for sure. So the sky tells this amazing story, right? Amazing stories. And all these cultures around the world, they have the same story. That's why when you read these books and all this shit, you're like, yo, it sounds like everything's repeating itself. But in reality, it is, because it's all based on the same shit. It's all based on the stars. And I think a lot of people, it's not a thought. I know that a lot of the reason why we're all confused. Hey, tap the screen, y'all. A lot of the reason why we're all confused is simply because we are really, 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 really trying to turn these stars into real people and humans and things to praise and all that stuff. You know, our ancestors did the right thing, but for a lot of people that can't think out the box, it causes a lot of confusion. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, like, are praying and praising things that aren't even, like, they're not real. You know what I'm saying? Do y'all know what I mean? It's called anthropomorphism. Anthropomorphism. Exactly, stepping outside yourself. anthropomorphism, right? Where that's where you give human qualities to things that aren't human, right? Like if I give, as soon as I give my car a name, or people do it all the time. People turn things into like, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? All right. So boom. Like I always say, can we agree that if you're gonna be sailing the 7 seas or however many seas they got, you got to be pretty intelligent, right? Can we all agree? So yeah, if you want to be a captain of a ship, you got to be pretty intelligent. Now the thing about it is they got a lot of technology today, right? That can probably make it easier. You still got to learn the technology, but it makes it easier for you to not make mistakes, right? Once you learn the technology that they have available, it makes it easier for you to make corrections if anything goes wrong. You feel me? But there was a time frame where people were just discovering things, and they were discovering this new technology and creating it, right? And there was a lot of room for error, right? And if you're on an ocean, there's a lot of room for error on the ocean. Because this, it's not like just driving on the road where you're going somewhere and you just have to stay on the road, right? When you're in the ocean, you got wind, you got currents, you got all kind of different factors, storms and things that take place on the sea that can affect, your knowledge of what direction you're going. Now, if you're not, I don't want to say educated, but we're just going to say educated for the lack of a better term. If you're not studied, there we go. If you're not studied on, sailing, things could go horribly wrong, right? Now, before the compass existed, all great sailors, all great explorers, they knew that there was something they could rely on, right? Like I said, the stars were reliable, right? A lot of people try to say the stars move all around the skies, but that's not true, right? The stars are so reliable that the best of pilots and the best of ship captains, they mastered the stars, right? It's called astronomy. They mastered the stars because when all else fails, you can follow the stars to get to where you're going, right? So it's safe to say that back in the day, a ship captain was 9 times out of 10 a master astronomer, right? Either the ship captain was, or the ship captain was a rich person who hired a master astronomer to be the sailor or to be the navigator on his ship, right? No, the stars don't move. All right, let's just put an end to that shit right now. We gotta all know that, y'all. I'm telling you right now, if the stars were moving all crazy, you wouldn't have zodiac signs and shit like that. You wouldn't be able to do your zodiac and figure out these things because the stars would be all over the place. You wouldn't have days that happen every year. You wouldn't have certain events, astronomical events that happen every single year if the stars were moving all around the sky. Let's just put an end to that, all right? Y'all hear me? The stars are fixed, okay? And when you think they're doing anything, they're only rotating over their respected areas, okay? And then when the seasons change and it seems as if some stars kind of disappear, it has nothing to do with anything moving. All right, the sun moves. The sun moves, and when the sun changes its position and shines differently, certain stars and or constellations seem as though they disappear, but it's just because they're hidden behind the glare of the sun. That is it. All right. So one of the reasons why I said it's important to know what you're doing. Now, if you look on this map, these are called gyres, right? And what a gyre is basically like a circulatory current in the ocean, right? Okay, so boom, you're on the seas, and you tell your crew it's gonna take us 2 weeks to get to this land. What do you think your crew, based on all the information we know, like about these pirates and these different captains back in the day, what did they do to the captain if the captain said, yo, it's gonna take us 2 weeks, and they were on the ocean for 4 weeks? Hey captain, why ain't we there yet? We'll be there in a few days. How long do y'all think they're gonna let the captain just get away with saying, just give me 2 more days? Yep, there we go, Prince Nasheen. Mutiny. You about to get thrown overboard. Y'all ever heard of walk the plank? Now, I want y'all to think about this, all right? Imagine you're in South America, right? Boom. And you make it through the Peru current. And then you get caught up in the Mentor current, right? And then that Mentor current spins you back around, right? And you see how close these currents take you to land? So imagine you get caught up in one of these currents, and you could have been on the right track, but you get caught up in that current and spent around, and you don't know how to read the stars, and you don't have a compass yet, right? Do you see how easy it could be for you to get lost in the ocean? Do y'all see how easy it could be to get turned around in the ocean? You could be going 50 knots to the west. Hit a current, that shit'll spin you all around, or you get caught in a storm, right? So can y'all see the importance of knowing how to read the stars before a compass, right? You get caught up in one of these gyres, right? And you feel like you're lost, and you look up and you see the North Star, right? You see Ursa Major, and you know Ursa Major leads you to the North Star, right? Boom. Aren't you saved? Aren't you saved? Definitely if you're going to America, because that's the North. Right? Or if you know another constellation resides in another hemisphere, and that's the hemisphere you're trying to make it into, you can follow that star. You can follow that constellation into that hemisphere, and you're gonna find land, right? But if you don't know those things, you could get caught in a gyre, right? Look, you see that South Pacific current? All right, so imagine you're in the South Pacific Ocean, right? And you get caught up in that South Pacific current, right? Imagine being in that shit for weeks, just going in circles, following the current in the sails. And then if you look, you'll see an Antarctic circumpolar current. Now imagine you get caught up in the middle of that shit, and that hot and cold come together. Y'all know what happens when a hot and cold current or wind hit each other, right? Does everybody know what happens when hot and cold air or hot and cold currents crash into each other? Tornadoes, storms, hurricanes. Right? Tornadoes, storms, and hurricanes. All right. So if you're playing around in the ocean for too long, you're gonna increase your chances of getting caught up in a hurricane. right? And you're on a little wooden ship. And don't nobody have time for these games. So what I wanted to point out was these motherfuckers had to be master astronomers. Okay? Alright, so look, y'all. We know that the Americans built mounds, temples, and pyramids, right? Right? And with these mounds, temples, and pyramids, they had all different kind of purposes, right? But one thing that we all know is that these mounds, temples, and pyramids were connected to the cosmos, right? So you see this one? If you look at this one, if you look real close to the right side of that temple that's closest to us, you'll see all those people, right? You see those people standing outside? That's how megalithic this structure is. Now this site is connected with the stars. This site is connected with the stars, y'all. Of course it is, right? Now, if you're gonna build a temple and you're gonna connect it to the stars, right? For one, you have to be a master mason, because brickwork is masonry. Don't get scared by the word mason, right? I'm not talking about Freemasonry and none of that. I'm talking about actual masonry, like brickwork, right? Building and shit. You got to be a master mason to be able to build this kind of stuff. And then those take angles and all that shit, right? But you also have to be a master astronomer, because you're going to have to be able to study the stars, right? To make these things align with them. And in order for you to study the stars, what do they use nowadays to study the stars? What are those buildings called? Observatories, y'all. The buildings are called observatories. So they build observatories. So some of the temples were for healing. Some of them were for learning. Some of them were for observatories. Some places were to bury our ancestors, right? But it all is connected. That's the thing. Now watch this. Alright, so this is the Caracal with Cygnus overlaid. Alright? Do y'all see that? Do y'all think that an amateur could do that? Look at come on, man. Do y'all think that an amateur could do this? Do you think you could wake up one day and go grab a bunch of people out your neighborhood and build some shit and make it connect to the stars like this? Hell no. If you can, I want to be your friend. Because you're on a whole nother level right now. Alright? Have y'all ever heard of Cygnus? Well, the importance of Cygnus, right, is Cygnus represents the plane of the Milky Way. Alright? Y'all heard me? Cygnus. Once you find Cygnus, that represents the plane of the Milky Way. It's that deep, y'all. So this right here is the Milky Way over Monument Valley, Arizona. That's beautiful, ain't it? It's beautiful. Okay? Now remember, y'all, Cygnus represents the plane of the Milky Way, right? Cygnus represents the plane of the Milky Way. Now we seen that in Mesoamerica they have their whole complex dedicated to Cygnus, right? So that means they had to see it quite often. Quite often. Now, we know that Orion is over America, right? All right, so Orion is over America. Now watch this. All right, Mississippi Mound Complex latest to show stellar alignments with the path of souls. Now, what do y'all see in the far left? Tell me what y'all see in the far left, the top left. Ain't that Cygnus? Now, what does Cygnus represent, everybody? The Milky Way, right? All right, so y'all see that Cygnus falls. right, so the stellar alignment this is what the Mississippians used to do. They used to bury the ancestors in the mound, right? And then Orion would go across the skies, as y'all can see based on this diagram, right? Orion seen, then it falls. It all happens in America, right? So what they would do is you bury your ancestors in this mound, and then you send the ancestors up into the heavens. Orion guides them into the Milky Way, which is the path of souls, into the afterlife. Did y'all know that? This is culture, right? Everybody's talking about being indigenous, so I'm just trying to show y'all a little bit of indigenous culture, right? All right, so boom. So imagine your culture being astronomy. Whew, right? Imagine your culture being a master astronomer. All right? Because you have to be a master astronomer to do this. Wouldn't we all agree? In order for you to build these mounds and temples to align with the stars, we already know you got to be a master astronomer. And I told y'all, the reason y'all don't like math class, or y'all feel like math class was missing something, y'all remember in high school you used to be like, man, I ain't about to use none of this shit after I graduate. Do y'all remember that? Do y'all remember, I ain't about to use none of this after I graduate? Y'all remember saying that? Because I do. Well, the reason you said that is because there's a lot of mathematics that are missing. Did y'all know that astronomy? Put a 1 in the comments if you already knew that astronomy was mathematics. Was a form of mathematics. All right? So not everybody knew. But when you were in school, they try to when you learn astronomy, didn't they teach you in science class astronomy? Right? You had like science class and they were teaching you about the planets and stuff, but that was in science. It wasn't in math class. Sirius rising. All right. Many of you have been searching for information on the star of Isis and when it rises in your area. So today's post is a repeat with information on both. All right. Look, depending on what latitude you're at, Sirius could be rising anytime from July to August in the northern hemisphere. Sirius and Orion were the most important stars in the sky to many ancient civilizations, including the ancient Egyptians, who gave extreme importance to these stars. But not only did the ancient Egyptians worship these stellar objects, so did ancient civilization in North, Central, and South America, and even in Asia. All right? Worship the stars. I told y'all that was an issue. Anthropomorphism, right? When you give things names and shit like that, and you give them human characteristics, and then you begin to worship these things, right? Anybody who read my book, in the beginning, I said I knew a man lost at sea, tracking the stars and finding land, turning those stars into gods, and then thanking those stars for helping him find land. Right? That's what I said in my book, because that's what happened. We loved the stars so much we turned them into things, and then we praised them. But I want y'all to see, y'all see Orion's belt in Sirius? That's Isis and Osiris. We all know about Isis and Osiris. Peace, though. It's famous. Everybody knows. They taught us about it in school all the time. And we were in school wondering why they were teaching us about this Egyptology and all this other shit. But it was like, yo, they were teaching us about America without saying it. Right? Because these stars were mapped by master astronomers. And I'm going to break down everything. I hope y'all got a little bit of time. If you have ever seen the star of Isis, Sirius, through a telescope, you will never forget it. She scintillates, she glows, she shoots off rays of blue, green, pink, and white. Yes, really, Sirius is the brightest star in the night sky, second in illumination only to the sun. Y'all hear that? No wonder we noticed this brilliant and beautiful star. and from at least the time of the pyramid text, if not before. You see that? That's when they say read between the lines, this is what they're talking about. And from at least the time of the pyramid text, if not before. That means they know that it happened before, right? If not before, that means we know 100% that it was before the pyramid text. That's what they're telling you. Sirius is connected with Isis. In the sky, Sirius is to the lower left of the extremely easy to spot constellation of Orion, which is always looked to human beings like a human torso. Orion has been visualized as a great shepherd, a hunter, warrior, or simply a giant. This is the land of the giants, ain't it? And since every shepherd or hunter must have his hunting hound, Sirius itself, as well as the constellation in which it is the lead star, has been envisioned as a great dog, right? That's why when you have Sirius radio, the emblem is a dog with a star in its eye. That's Sirius, the dog star. The dog star, the dog constellation, right? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Have y'all ever looked at your Sirius radio station emblem and seen the dog with the star in its eye? That's what it represents. Now I'm gonna show y'all how realistic this shit is. Watch this. This right here is from my backyard, y'all. I went outside with my camera phone. I looked right up into the sky because this is in America. Those three stars represent Orion's belt. And then if you look to the left, that bright star, that big bright star, that's Sirius. If you're ever outside, just look for this and you'll be able to spot Orion and Sirius. That easy. It's that simple. And the easiest place to spot this is in America. Right? This is my backyard. Y'all see the top of my house right there? That shit's right above me. You know what I'm saying? Can't make this shit up if I tried. Like David said, what are we supposed to do? Move the stars? Now this is where it starts to get real, y'all. Ancient Libya was a kingdom located around the shores of the Gulf of Sirte to the west of Egypt. Its light-skinned inhabitants were drawn from the mixed population of Anatolian sea peoples who invaded Libya around 1250 BC. Native Berbers and Spartan Greeks who settled the eastern margin of the Gulf Coast. All right, the Greek influence persisted in the American Libyan settlement at least until circa 1100 AD. Did y'all know that there was an American settlement in Libya even before 1100 AD? Did y'all know that? When the tortoise art was painted by a Mimbres Valley potter in Mexico, the Libyan language, listen to this, y'all. Listen to this, because somebody's been lying. Somebody's been lying, but we're about to get to the bottom of it, all right? The Libyan language, written alphabetically from left to right and from right to left and also vertically, was used in New Mexico. Huh? Wait. The Libyan language, written alphabetically from left to right and from right to left and also vertically, was used in New Mexico. So why was there a Libyan language being spoken in New Mexico? Can anybody tell me when was the first time that you heard about Africans selling to America? Can anybody in the comments tell me when was the first time you heard about Africans selling to America? Never. Nope. 1964. Somebody said Jamaica. I don't know what that means. 1400s. Okay, there we go. 1400s, Jamaica. All right. Okay, now it's gonna have something to do with Mansa Musa, right? If you've ever heard of it, it had something to do with Mansa Musa, right? If you've ever heard of Africans selling to America before Columbus and before all that shit, it was Mansa Musa, right? Mansa Musa, his predecessor, Abu Bakr, which is a mistranslation. That's not even, Abu Bakr is not even a real name. It's not a real person. It's a mistranslation, right? But that would be who they told you, right? Mansa Musa, Musa of Mali, right? Remember Mali, the Mali kingdom, right? Remember that. Was the ruler of the kingdom of Mali from 1312 CE to 1337 CE, all right? Now, CE is basically current times, right? Which means after BC, right? You got AD, which is Anno Domini. You got BC, which is before Christ or before current time. You got AD, what did I say? You got AC. You got all these motherfucking things, right? When there only should be two. There should be current time and before current time, right? One counts up, one counts back, but they give you all these different C's and A's and D's and B's and to confuse you. Y'all don't think that all these things are to confuse you? Why are there so many different ways to tell the time? Shit is crazy. But I'll tell you right now, BC is before CE. That's one thing I'm gonna tell you, okay? BC is before CE. There we go, Winter. BCE, before Common Era, right? Before Common Era. And then CE is Common Era, all right? Those only, we're good. Now watch this. When did I say that American settlement was? 1100 AD, but they said the Greek influence persisted until 1100 AD, which means that the Americans were there before then, right? Put a 1 in the comments if that means, if you get from that Americans had settlements in Libya before that time. Right? The key word is persisted, which means it was already happening. Right? So we know that the Greeks took, remember, this is why it's important. We were master astronomers and all this information was about the stars. Right? Now when you look at Greek culture, all their gods are based on the stars, right? Aren't all their gods copycats of the stars? And they say that they stole it from Egypt, but in reality, Egypt got it from America, so they stole it from Americans, right? They're the ones that took the information in Africa and corrupted it and turned it to whatever they wanted to, and then flipped it and gave it back to us. But we also know at that time, the Greeks were melanated people too, right? So in reality, it was just a bunch of our people that look like us running around changing information. But at a time, it could have been fair to an extent, right? Because obviously once you get this information, you're gonna take this information and make it match with your people, right? Because remember, there were schools, right? There were schools. So if I go to the school of thought, right, and I learn about these gods in the sky, and I have to take it back to my people, do you think I'm gonna take it back and tell them that these are American gods? Or am I gonna take it back, be the hero, and tell my people that these are Greek gods and give them Greek names and go down in history, right? Y'all ever heard of Imhotep? Imhotep, the real father of medicine, right? But if you know about Imhotep, then you have to know about Hippocrates, right? Hippocrates is the one that stole all his information, right? Hippocrates. What does that word sound similar to? What does Hippocrates sound similar to? Facts. Hypocrisy. A hypocrite. Somebody that says one thing and does another. Somebody that takes your information, says is theirs, and runs away with it. The Greek influence persisted, right? Are we getting it? That makes sense, right? Does anybody know who this tribe is? So y'all heard about this tribe, right? The Fulani tribe. Have y'all ever in your life heard about them selling to America? Put a 1 if you heard about it. Put a 2 if you ain't never heard about them selling to America. Put a 2 if you never heard about them selling to America. That's a whole lot of 2s, y'all. That's a whole lot of 2s. Crazy. Well, look, before Columbus, the Fulani. All right, now look. Do y'all think that's a coincidence? Do y'all think this clothing is a coincidence? Do y'all think this clothing? We just talked about they spoke Libyan languages in New Mexico. Or do Libyans speak a New Mexican language? You feel me? Were they speaking a Libyan language in New Mexico? Or do Libyans speak a New Mexican language? Alright, how about this one? Am I reaching? This is Pueblos and the Dogon. Have y'all heard of the Dogon selling to America before Columbus? We never heard of the Dogon selling to America, but we have heard of the Dogon getting master information. We're gonna break that shit down. All right, we talked about it. We talked about how crazy it is to try to sell on the sea, right? Didn't we? We talked about how crazy it is to try to sell on the sea without technology and without knowledge of the stars, because they have these things in the ocean called gyres, which are circulatory currents that if you get caught in one, you could be lost at sea forever until you get out of it. But if you learn how to navigate by the stars, then you'll always be good, right? If you learn how to navigate by the stars, then you're good. If you're a master astronomer, you can't get lost because you know how to find your way. So these are gyres, y'all. Circulatory currents in the ocean. And you see that there's all different kind of currents occurring right now. So if you were on the sea and you didn't know how these currents worked and you got trapped up in one, what could you rely on to find your way? If you didn't have a compass on the ship with you, what could you rely on to find your way? The stars. The stars. And based on everything we've seen so far, wouldn't you say that America was full of master astronomers? Because we already seen temples and mounds and pyramids in America that were based on the stars, right? Perfectly aligned. Right? Perfectly aligned with the stars, okay? And I'm glad Jay Knowles said the North Star, right? Because that's important. That's important. Can anybody tell me where the North Star will take you? Somebody, 2 people in the comments said a dolphin. I'm glad y'all said that, because we're going to get to that too. Right? The North Star is going to take y'all asses to America. Similar beliefs in Greek deities have waned across West Africa in favor of Islam. However, the Dogon people of Mali still hold some of their ancient beliefs, including the belief in the spirit called Nomos. So are we still seeing the connections of everything, right? We still see the Greeks, we still see the West African, and we still see Mali, right? Remember Mansa Musa of Mali, right? Remember the Greek influence persisted? All right, it's all connected, y'all. The Nomos, which are often described as amphibious fish-like creatures who are considered to be masters of the water. Well, wouldn't y'all consider captains of ships to be masters of the water? This seems to reflect the appearance and description of Poseidon very closely, which may suggest that some of the beliefs that existed in Atlantis could have been maintained by generations of people in the nearby settlements of West Africa. Where is Atlantis, everybody? Oh yeah, I got a book available called Somebody's Been Lying. Go get that. It's available on Amazon right now. When following the course of the constellations, those immovably and perpetually fashioned on America are reached, it will appear that while all that is sublime in the historic past centers upon Egypt, all that is sublime in the prehistoric past centers upon America, Atlantis. And as the curtain which has hitherto concealed the prehistoric connection between the people of ancient Egypt and of America is lifted, it will be seen that the people of the eagle on the Nile, being descended from the original people of the eagle on this continent, the twain are one, and that prehistoric America was the original Egypt. All right? So where is Atlantis? Where is Atlantis? While all that is sublime in the historic past centers upon Egypt, all that is sublime in the prehistoric past centers upon America, Atlantis. So now they're saying, so exactly, Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Atlantis. Come on, Atlan, right? Everybody, listen, America has 91,757 plus dams, right? It's the most well-watered land ever, right? And when you're born at the doctor's, right? You come out of a birth canal, right? Water breaks. Then they put your foot on this birth certificate, which is the certificate of live cargo, right? Because you came out of a vessel, which is a ship, which is your mom, right? And then after you come out of that vessel as live cargo, you put your foot on the document, right? Now you're under maritime law, right? And we all know that as a citizen, you're lost at sea, but we're walking on the land, but the land is sea. America. Mary means the ocean. Mary means the sea. So just means the sea land. America means the land of sea, the land of the sea. This is Atlantis. It's sunken right now while we're standing on it because we're lost at sea on the land. The land is underwater. This is Atlantis. Does it make sense? If we're all lost at sea but we're on land, wouldn't you say that the land is sunken? Exactly. Now watch this, y'all. These master astronomers were far better than we ever thought. A lodestone is a naturally magnetized piece of the mineral magnetite. Alright? One of the first references to lodestone's magnetic properties is by 6th century BCE Greek philosopher Thales of Miletus, who is credited by the ancient Greeks with discovering lodestone's attraction to iron and other lodestones. The name magnet may come from lodestones found in Magnesia, Anatolia. Now y'all remember when I told y'all that the Greeks and the Anatolian Sea peoples and the Berbers are the ones that conquered the American settlements in Libya, right? Y'all remember that? In In China, the earliest literary reference to magnetism lies in a 4th century BC book called Book of the Devil Valley Master. The earliest mention of the attraction of a needle appears in a work composed between 20 and 100 AC. This is why you have to read everything all the way through, because they lie and they tell you things. And if you don't read the book or you don't read the document to the end, you're going to be confused. Watch how it just keeps on switching. The lodestone compass was used for navigation in medieval China by the 12th century. However, somebody's been lying. However, based on his find of an Olmec hematite artifact in Central America, the American astronomer John Carlson has suggested that the Olmec may have discovered and used the geomagnetic lodestone compass earlier than 1000 BC. All right. That's pretty damn early, ain't it, y'all? Now, we've seen all those African tribes and how they were connected to these American tribes, right? Mansa Musa, that was 1300 what? CE, right? So that means that the Olmecs did this way before Mansa Musa was even born. Christopher Columbus and Mansa Musa weren't born at all. And the Olmecs were creating compasses. Right? Hold on, y'all. So basically what this document is saying is that America, they already knew about America before Christ. So they would prove that America was long known before Christ. Right? Did y'all ever know that America existed and they knew about it before Christ existed? That's why they had to convert people, because people were here doing their own damn thing. And then they came here after Christ. All right? All right. Albertus Magnus mistakes when he ascribes the knowledge of the compass to Aristotle, right? Of which he himself makes not the least mention. Neither Galen, Alexander, Aphrodisius, Pliny, or Lucretius, nor any of the Roman, Greek, Arabian, or other country writers whatsoever. Some give the honor thereof to an Indian. We're talking about the creation of the compass. Some give the honor thereof to an Indian. Others to a shepherd in Mount Ida, whose clouded shoes being full of hobnails, the iron sticking fast to the stones on which he stood. Mount Ida. Ain't that what they said? Ain't that what they said, y'all? Mount Ida? Now listen, this is how I want y'all to recognize the thievery. Who keeps popping up? What people keep popping up as thieves? Can anybody in the comments tell me who keeps popping up as the thieves of information? Can anybody in the comments tell me who is consistently popping up in all these documents as the thieves of information? The Greeks. The Greeks. The Greeks. Now look, now watch here. Now tell me, who do y'all think stole this name? Right? The mountain was probably named after Mount Ida on Crete. The Greeks, Crete, the Aegean Sea. So do y'all think the Greeks created the name, or do you think the Greeks did what the Greeks be doing and stole the information to try to accredit it to their people? Right? What is the coincidence that all these things are connecting, and every time you see it, the Greeks are involved somehow? But I just showed y'all a document that the Greeks are the ones that conquered these people with the information, and now all of a sudden the Greeks have all this shit. Do y'all see that? Am I tripping? I know I'm not tripping. Everything starts off with American information, and then somehow the Greeks just keep getting involved. That shit is crazy. All right. It was known that lodestone, a naturally occurring form of iron oxide, also known as magnetite, had the ability to attract iron. No one knows where or when it was first noticed that a freely moving piece of lodestone tended to align itself so that it was pointed north and south. Written records indicate that the Chinese used magnetic compasses by 1100 AD, Western Europeans and Arabs by 1200 AD, and Scandinavians by 1300 AD, right? But BC comes before AD, right? And we just read that that even before 1000 BC, the Olmecs had the compass. The Americans had compasses. So you could pretty much assume that compasses were just all throughout America. Wherever you find mounds, wherever you find pyramids and temples, there were compasses, right? So this document is trying to tell you that that they're trying to accredit these people, but that's not true. Now we know that somebody's been lying, right? Obviously. Why the hell are they talking about AD when we just showed BC? All right. Now listen to this. He said, tell him. Compasses, man. Mesoamerican culture. All right. A compass is a device that uses lodestones. We know that. Or a piece of iron that has been magnetized by contact with the lodestone to determine magnetic north. All right, the Olmec are believed to have discovered that a lodestone will align itself with a magnetic north-south positioning. All right, and they are credited with developing a compass before 1000 BC. Olmec civilization arose in the Yucatan Peninsula of what is now Mexico in about 1700 BC. Okay, all this shit is happening before every date that they ever mentioned. Why don't they teach us about this in high school? Why don't they teach us about this in American schools? If we're Americans going to an American school, why aren't they teaching us about American greatness? Huh? Somebody's been lying. The American Indian discovery of the compass occurred about 1,000 years before the Chinese developed a compass. Remember in that other one, they tried to show us the Chinese and the Arabs and the Scandinavians and all that shit. But now, you know what I'm saying? Why does it keep requesting to come on my live? World as in society, new man. You feel me? All right, the American Indian discovery of the compass occurred about 1,000 years before the Chinese development of the compass, according to the Mesoamerican expert Michael Coe and other archaeologists. The earliest date for the compass in China is AD 1100. All right, so the reason why this is so important is because when was that American settlement in Libya? When was the American settlement in Libya? (1100 AD, y'all. So if China was the earliest date for their compass was 1100 AD, but there was American settlements in Libya in 1100 AD prior to 1100 AD, then then that just shows you who utilized the compass first, right? Right? If Americans had a settlement in Libya prior to 1100 AD, then that means Americans beat everybody around the world. That's the reason why it was so important for me to show y'all in the beginning the importance of being master astronomers and master mathematicians, right? And I'm gonna show y'all how astronomy has to do with math or whatever like that. Okay, so we good. The Olmec used a magnet compass. All right, he tested his theory by placing the lodestone on a piece of cork large enough to float. When he placed the cork in the water, it consistently pointed a little west of magnet. Hey, listen, y'all. Anybody that's been in my lives, which direction is north? Which direction is true north? Anybody that's been in my lives, which direction is true north? Shout out to it's Lady Kit. Let's go. Y'all motherfuckers be paying attention. It's to the left, but it also means below. But we're talking about to the left right now. Now watch this. The lodestone on a piece of cork large enough to float. When he placed the cork in the water, it consistently pointed a little west of magnetic north. Slim, I can't make this shit up. I bet y'all thought I could make this up, huh? Hey, somebody's been lying. Somebody's been lying. A little west, that's crazy. He next turned the lodestone upside down, and it consistently pointed a little east of magnetic north, right? Further scientific experiments performed 6 years later confirmed that a simple compass was probably made and used by the Olmec. Made and used by the Olmec. Now, mathematics, y'all. How many times have I mentioned mathematics since we've been here? I keep on saying it because it goes into where we're going. Anytime y'all hear me talking, just know that I'm saying things within everything I'm saying because it's going to lead to something else that leads to something else. But it all has to go together. That's why I made it so important about the Greeks, because down the line, y'all seen that the Greeks had their little grubby hands on everything, right? But anyway, geometry, Mesoamerican, South American, Andean, North American, Southwest cultures. Excuse me. The mathematics of the properties of measurement and relationships of points, lines, and angles, known as solid geometry, was developed by the Indian. What? Did y'all know that? The mathematics of the properties of measurement and relationships of points, lines, and angles, known as solid geometry, was developed by the Indians of North, Meso, and South America, independently of the systems devised by the ancient Greeks. There we go again. There we go again. Chinese, or the people of the Middle East. These are the thieves, yo. The Greeks, the Arabs, and the Asians are the thieves, yo. They keep bringing them up, right? Y'all ever heard of the Maya Naga who went to all those places that are mentioned and spread the information from America? Is it all making sense now? So basically, all these civilizations have our information. And every time we've learned about all these people and what they created, we were learning about what they stole from us. Now, I want y'all to think back in school, all the times y'all sat in class and learned about what these people created. And then I want y'all to feel infuriated knowing that they stole this shit from you. That they stole it from you and gave it back to you as other people's history. Y'all should be pissed, man. Based on the circle, indigenous geometry has been practiced throughout the Americas for well over 2,000 years and probably longer. We know probably means it has been longer. When they say probably and all those things, they're liars. So we know that it means for sure. All right? Archaeological evidence shows that the ancient Americans applied their knowledge of the principles of geometry to architecture, city planning, and the ornamental designs they use in sculpture, painting, textile patterns, such as those woven in the Mayan and Mesoamerica for hundreds of years. All right, Maya culture arose in Mesoamerica and the southern part of Mexico in about 1500 BC. Precise theoretical and working knowledge of geometry was needed to build the Mesoamerican pyramids that were constructed by pre-Peruvian people in El Espero in about 3000 BC, or by the Olmec in 1200 BC in the Yucatan Peninsula. This knowledge was also needed to build monumental stone works of the Moshe, whose culture began to flourish in what is now Peru. And remember, the Peruvians, they give an account of giants that went down to Peru and they were eating people. All right. So we good? All right, now remember, there was American settlements in Libya, right? And remember, they said the American settlements were in Libya and to the west of Egypt, right? Libya to the west of Egypt, right? So now watch this. So y'all see that? Oh, I'm definitely saving it. So y'all see this, right? Libya interior. Do y'all see that? That big giant Libya interior right there? And y'all just seen where the Mali Empire was. Don't you think they're kind of all intertwined? And then it said to the west of Egypt as well, right? Watch this. All right. Now remember, they said the settlement was in Libya, and it said to the west of Egypt. All right. Now the reason this is important is because if you look in on that other map I just showed y'all, remember it said Libya interior. And then if you look on this map and you see Egypt to the top right, if you look to the left just a little bit, you'll see Libya exterior. All right, Libya exterior to the left of Egypt. Okay, so that means that there was American settlements that close to Egypt. American settlements that close to Egypt, right? And we had all the information. So is it all adding up and making sense now? Is it making sense why the Egyptians had knowledge of the American stars the way they did? Is it making sense why all these people that conquered Egypt stole our information? And don't forget, look, it says ancient Libya. So if Libya is ancient, and we were already over there, don't that mean America's ancient? At the heart of the history of the ancient Moors, says Chandler, are the Garamantis of the Sahara. The Garamantis were black Africans who occupied much of North Africa. They can be considered the ancestors of the true Moors. Contemporary with the Garamantis were the Libyans. Originally, claims Chandler, these Libyans, whom Menes attacked and defeated in the first dynasty, were Caucasians. They were called by their black conquerors the Tamahu. In Egyptian, Tama means people, and Hu means white or light ivory. Thus, they were the white or light-skinned people. All right? Okay? Portraits of the battle between Menes and these people indicate, according to Chandler, that they were a different race from the ancient dark-skinned Egyptian. These light-skinned people intermarried with the many blacks on all sides of them, he claims, and became the Tawny Moors, or White Moors, also known as Berbers, from the Roman Barbary, barbarians. The Arabs adopted this Roman term for them and changed it to Berber. Eventually, the word Libyan and Berber became synonymous in some places. Do y'all remember? Watch. We're the missing piece to the puzzle, y'all. Ancient Libya was a kingdom located around the shores of the Gulf of Sirte to the west of Egypt, right? We seen that. Its light-skinned inhabitants, right? We just read that. Were drawn from mixed populations, okay? So you had Americans, you had these Anatolian Sea peoples, you had the Greeks, and you had the Berbers. right? And we know the Berbers were a mixed race people. They were mixed with the Egyptians, the Tamahu, the Anatolian Sea peoples. They were just a mixture. And that's what allowed white people to become Moors, right? So the original Moors were black. And then they started mixing with the Tamahu. They mixed with the created people. And that's how white Moors got into the mix, right? Is it all adding up? These are the questions people have been asking forever. And we're getting the answers now. How did it happen? What happened? What did the Moors do? What's going on? These are the answers. These are the answers, y'all. All right. The Anatolian Sea peoples invaded Libya. All right. So the Greeks, the Berbers, and the Anatolian Sea peoples invaded the American settlements in Libya, right? All right. Ain't it all adding up? Is it all adding up, y'all? Right? And the Moors got conquered by these same people, right? And now it makes sense that after these people got conquered, they ran to America because they had American ancestors. The American settlements were their American ancestors. So after it all hit the fan, they were like, where can we go? The whole world turned their backs on us. Where can we run to? Run to America, where our ancestors came from. That's how we're connected to the Moors, y'all. We're their great-great-great-grandparents. The Americans are their forefathers. And they came home because they got ran through by all these nations. It is what it is. But this is just the truth. I like the truth more than I like anything. And it is what it is. I prefer the truth over everything. That's why I let go of all titles. I let go of titles, man, because I did more research and it was like, yo, I don't see no title that makes sense to me. You feel me? I feel like only thing that I could stick with saying is, yo, I'm an original man. That's it. If you put a title on me, then it's like, yo, but what happened to these people? Who's in the mix? Because all these titles, as I just broke down how the pale-skinned people got into the mix of these Berbers, right? So boom, y'all, this is Africa, right? That's Mansa Musa right there, right? Remember, there was American settlements in Libya, right? And we've seen that in Libya and all these places. There was a Libya interior and exterior, right? So it was spread all throughout like the Sahara and all that shit, right? And I was like, yo, what's them red, white, and blue tents doing up there? I was like, yo, you know? Because everybody stole from us. Now watch this. This is my favorite one to break down because I always loved this story and I was like, man, this shit is amazing. Now watch this. Everybody knows about the Dogon tribe, right? Can anybody in the comments tell me where the Dogon tribe say they got their information from? Yeah, so they got their the stars is a good answer and the Nomos is a good answer. Those both those answers are correct. All right, so Sirius. Now watch this, cause I don't know if it's the Dogon tribe that's lying. I don't think they're the ones lying. But I can tell you right now, somebody's been lying. All right, so we talked about mathematics, right? Remember? Y'all remember when we talked about mathematics? I brought up mathematics a million times, y'all. I brought it up a million times, y'all. Intentionally. Okay? So the Dogon tribe, they say that they got their information from the Nomos, right? Right? right, we're gonna go back to this real quick. All right, similar beliefs in Greek. We know the Greek are the thieves. So now, for real, anytime you hear about the Greeks, just know it's a stolen American information. Similar belief in Greek deities have waned across West Africa in favor of Islam. However, the Dogon people of Mali, right, Mansa Musa, right, still hold some of their ancient beliefs, including the belief in spirits called Nomos. Okay, Nomos. Nomos. Hey, remember. All right. So I need y'all to remember that. The Nomos. Don't let that slip y'all minds. Are my fingernails dirty? All right, look. Observed from the beginning, all right? Hold on. Observed from the beginning in the science of the heavenly creatures, the planets, stars, and such like, the one is their course and ordinary motions, which for that cause is called astronomy, which word is a compound of. Now what does that say, y'all? What does that word say? Nomos. Okay? Alright? Which is a compound word of nomos and asteron. Okay? So astronomy is a compound word of nomos and asteron. That is to say, the law of the stars. And this art indeed is one of the members of the mathematics. Alright? And not only lawful, but most necessary and commendable. We broke down, it's the, may I see the cover? Give me a second. We broke down, it's the mathematics, right? And we broke down that it's a compound word, asteron and nomos, right? So where did the Dogon say they got their information from? Where did the Dogon say they got their information from, y'all? All right. They got their information from the Nomos. But we now know that Nomos is the law of the stars. So Nomos is the law and Asteron is the stars, right? So the law of the stars. Now, can anybody tell me where the Nomos came from? Can anybody tell me where the Nomos came from? Based on the story, historically, they say the Nomos came from Sirius. All right. Now let's break this down, y'all. Because it's always deeper than what they try to tell you. All right. So boom. Based on the story, right? The Nomo, they came down from Sirius, right? And then they landed on the shores of West Africa. They taught the Dogon tribe the information about the stars, right? All right, so when the based on the story, when the Nomos arrived, they to West Africa, they arrived on an ark. Okay, the Dogon arrived on an ark. Can anybody tell me what arks are made of? All right. Modern scientists report that Torreya taxifolia once lived across North America and one of the oldest tree species on Earth. This is interesting in the light of the local legend that Florida Torreya taxifolia, right, is a biblical gopher wood from which Noah built his ark. Okay? So they're saying that the Nomos arrived on an ark. Arks are made of gopher wood. And then they're saying that they were seafaring gods and they base them on amphibious creatures, right? Now, when you think about Florida, and you think about these intelligent seafaring creatures, do y'all believe in coincidences? I told y'all this is my backyard, right? This is my backyard. To the right is Orion or Osiris, right? And then to the left, the bottom left, right? That big giant bright star is Sirius. Okay? So imagine these master astronomers, right? They build an arc in America because we're the first people with compasses. So we use our we build the arc, we use our compasses, and we use our mathematics to create, right? And then we get on this arc, we sail to West Africa, and we build these settlements as I showed y'all. And then while we're building these settlements, we're meeting these people, and they're wondering how we traveled, how we did all the things we did, how we know all the things we know. So we meet this tribe called the Dogon tribe, and they're like, yo, we want to learn what y'all learn. And we're like, oh, okay, we can teach you. And then we teach them. And then later on down the line, somebody comes by and says, yo, where'd you get your information about the stars? And they say, oh, the Nomos. And we know the Nomos is the law. So where'd you learn? How do you know so much about the stars? The Nomos. The law. The law. Okay. So if we wanted to learn about the Nomos, where would we go? Oh, they told us to follow Sirius. To follow Sirius, and we could find them. Right? Now, if you're speaking to people that have no idea about astrology, astronomy, or none of that, for real, and you say, yo, just follow Sirius. We came from Sirius. Some people will take that extremely literal and be like, oh, they came from the star, and we had to get into outer space to find them. But no, a master astronomer would be like, oh, so if we follow the Sirius star system, then we will find them, because these people are in America. And Sirius follows Orion through the sky, which is in America. So the Dogon got their information from the Nomos, which is really the law of the stars. Where'd they get it? Where'd these people come from? Oh, they came from Sirius. Now, if you follow Sirius star constellation, it'll take you to America. Somebody's been lying, but we just got to the bottom of it. Y'all see how we did that? We've done this live a few times, right? And we're just gonna keep on going, man. We're gonna add to it, you know what I'm saying? And it's just gonna get better and better.